Do you know the name Makeda as being the Queen of Sheba is never mentioned in the Bible? Why? Because it was made up by the Kebra Nagus, which was published in England in the 1800s. In other words, the Tewahedo Church in Ethiopia teaches folklore, proven folklore, as being historical within their churches. So let's read what the Bible itself says about Sheba. After many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. Thou shalt come into the land that is brought against the mountains of Israel. So Amos 9:7 says, are you not the children of Ethiopians? Or are you not the children of Ethiopia unto me, O children of Israel? In other words, Ethiopians represent Israel. And there in the latter years you will find Sheba. So Sheba is supposed to be here in the latter years. Yet still, according to the Tewahedo Church, she died thousands of years ago. So let's read what they did. Haile Selassie made it known that his kingdom began in 4530 BC, which contradicts the Kebra Nagus version as only being 3,000 years old. So there go the list of kings. So this is Wikipedia. So what did Wikipedia do? They added in the European folklore. So at 98, you're going to find the name Makeda. Why? Because it's according to the Kebra Nagus. So, but that goes against the Kebra Nagus because according to the Kebra Nagus, Menelik I was the very first king of Ethiopia, when in fact he was the 99th king according to Tafari's list, Haile Selassie's list. So you see Dawit the first. So what is Sheba? The queen of Sheba, also known as the Queen Makeda of Ethiopia, was made up by the Kebra Nagus. So what about her? That's so important. Modern historians and archaeologists identify Sheba as one of the South Arabian kingdoms because no trace of her has ever been found. Why? Because she is supposed to be here in the latter years in Ethiopia. After many days, thou shalt be visited in the latter years. So she was not here thousands of years ago. That's according to the Kebra Nagus, which has been proven to be folklore. So let's watch what's happening.
View that the New Testament Gospels contain discrepancies and errors is the view shared by the New Testament scholars who teach at all the major universities of this country. It is the view that is taught of every New Testament scholar who teaches at Ivy League schools, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Brown, Columbia, Cornell, University of Pennsylvania. I know these people. It is the view of professors of New Testament at all the major state universities in this country. Where I live in the East, the University of Florida, Florida State. Only ones who think differently, the only ones who think that the Bible is completely reliable, are people who have a particular theological point of view that affirms that the Bible does not have mistakes in it. This is a theological view, not a historical view. And people are, of course, welcome to have it. But the people who have it should admit that when they say the Bible is reliable, they are saying so not on historical grounds for historical reasons. They are saying so because their theological views require them to say it. If they did not have these theological views, they would agree with everyone else, Christian and non-Christian, that the Bible does not provide a reliable account of the historical Jesus and of the history of the early Christian church.
The one thing I noticed, a lot of those groups that he named, they also like to change the Bible and add their own false doctrine into it too.
Hello, and that's what the Tewahedo Church is doing, because the Tewahedo Church is part of the Greek kingdom. It's literally a Greco-Roman church, pagans.
There is no Greece until 1000 before the Common Era, BC. And there is a single Greek writer until Homer comes to Egypt to learn to read and write. And then in 833 wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey, the first piece of writing out of Greece. There was no, that time Greece was called Paris. There was no other state in Europe before that either, because Etrusca, now called Rome, was not in existence before 1000 BC either. 1000 BC, the Africans were already in the 19th dynastic period, meaning that they had started a civil war along the Nile and had come back together, had designed and built all the pyramids that you see there. Not a single Jew was born yet.
Hello. In other words, the people are changing the story. So who's doing it? After Alexander, the son of Philip, the Greek, defeated the Iranians, the Babylonians, the Turks, and the Syrians, he divided his kingdom among them. And he also made Jerusalem, for it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary and an evil adversary to Israel. Who is that? Jerusalem. So Jerusalem, whereupon the city was made a habitation of strangers, and became strange to those who were born in her. Why? Because they took over Jerusalem. They also took over Egypt. And they also took over Rome. Hence, it's a Greco-Roman church in Ethiopia teaching the people false doctrine. So let's watch. What was Ethiopia?
Long time ago, Eastern Ethiopia. Everybody knows that, right? No. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. You also probably... India used to be called, long time ago, Eastern Ethiopia.
So India used to be called Eastern Ethiopia. You see, they want you to believe that Ethiopians are descendants of Ham. So let's read. So towards the north is Japheth. So Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So towards the north goes Japheth. So Japheth land goes up to Gog, which is in current day Russia. So that's what it says about Shem. And towards the north is Japheth, and all that is south belongs to Shem. And it extends till it reaches the waters of the river Gihon, and to the south of the waters of the Gihon banks. And it extends towards the east till it reaches the Garden of Eden. And Noah rejoiced in this portion for Shem and his sons. For he said, Blessed the Lord God, and may the Lord dwell in the dwelling of Shem. So where's that? His foundation is in the holy mountains. Remember, Ethiopia has 70% of all the mountains on the continent. And Jehovah is more in love with the gates of Zion than all the tabernacles of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken about you, O city of the true God. In other words, in Ethiopia, Selah. So look what it says. And he blessed the God of gods, who had put the word of the Lord in his mouth, and the Lord forevermore. And he blessed Shem. And his land went to the east and on to India. In other words, Shem represents Ethiopia. Part 3 coming up. Part 20.